Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Jack Lyons. I'm the founder and creator of Pythia, and today we're gonna be learning how to screen print. So what is screen printing? Screen printing is transferring ink through a screen onto a garment just like this hoodie. So the three main things that you'll need to start screen printing is a screen with your design burned into it, a squeegee, and plastisol ink. So there's three components to a screen: the frame, the mesh, and the design itself. Frame can be either wood or metal. Wood is cheaper and it can warp, which is the problem. So some people go with metal because you can reuse them and they're gonna get a clean print every single time. So a design is burned into the screen by placing a film on the front and then emulsion on the back, and then you light treat it, which will only save the graphic around the film. And the reason it's called screen printing is because this is a literal screen that you're blocking off ink from coming through. So in this area where the design's burned through, ink can pass through. So there's little holes in here, and that's why the mesh count matters. Is higher mesh count, less will go through, lower mesh count, more ink will go through. And so the way you get ink through a screen is with a squeegee, which you put the ink over the top and lightly stroke over. Got two different types of squeegees here. This one's a metal squeegee with a firmer brush on it, and then this one's a wood one with a lighter. Now, the reason I use this one more often is because it allows more ink to be left on the screen, whereas this one's firmer, which will take more ink as it goes. I like more so messier prints, so I go with this one. So I have a screen printing press. You really don't need one. You can put the screen directly on the garment, but with this, you can clamp down really nicely. So how I set up my screen print is I get some tape and I'll tape off this so that when I spray my adhesive, my shirt fabric isn't getting stuck directly to the board, because then it'll stay there for future times and give me lint on things that I don't want. So once I got the board taped up, I'm gonna tape around the screen, because normally the emulsion doesn't get every single crack. So you gotta tape around it so that no ink can get through the screen onto your garment. Cool. So now I'm gonna get the piece on, put the ink on, and then screen print. Line this up on the board, all the way down. The main thing you want to do when you're putting your piece on the board is make sure that the area is flat as possible. So this area right here with the hood is gonna make it so that the screen doesn't lay flat, and so will this part right here. It's kind of inevitable to not have some part that's going up, but minimize that risk as possible. And we'll put a big slab of the ink on top. Spread evenly across so I can get a clean print. So now that I got the ink on the screen, I'm gonna lay it down. Normally, I'd put the ink on this side and pull this way, but for filming purposes, we're gonna go from that end. So I'm gonna get a really firm grip on here and push down as hard as I can so that that screen can go all the way down, because it's still about that much off the hoodie right now. Wipe the screen. There we go. So right here, it's kind of fading a little bit, which means that the screen's at an angle upward, so it's not pushing down directly on the hoodie right there, but overall a really solid print. So after the design is on the hoodie, you're gonna need to cure it so that it can make it through the wash. You can air dry it. If you air dry it, it might fade over time and bleed onto your other clothes in the washing machine. You can get a flash heater like I have. They're around 200 to 300 bucks. It'll get to 320 degrees. You just pull it right over the hoodie and that'll cure it as well. There's also a heat gun, which you can buy for around $60 to $70. Not as good, but it'll get the job done for sure. So plastisol ink cures at 320 degrees. When I put the flash heater 3 inches above, 2 inches above the hoodie, all the ink will cure and bind to the fabric so that it will not come out in the wash. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish screen printing this hoodie for later on in the series, and then I'm gonna finish up the other stuff I brought today. So I just cleaned off all my screens. Main important part is just getting all the ink out of your design, because otherwise it'll dry and then the ink will not be able to go through the screen later on. So you're not gonna be able to get it perfectly clean, but as long as this is clear, good to go. So that's a quick rundown of how to screen print. By now I put in probably a couple hundred hours screen printing, and I'm still not that good at it, but it is a budget-friendly solution to make clothes at home. If you don't want to make that full order to your manufacturer, you can rip out a couple in your backyard or in your garage.